Poet and His Songs by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, 1807 to 1882. As the birds come in the spring, we know not from where, as the stars come at evening from depths of the air. As the rain comes from the cloud and the brook from the ground, as suddenly low or loud out of silence a sound. As the grape comes to the vine, the fruit to the tree, as the wind comes to the pine and the tide to the sea. As come the white sails of ships o'er the ocean's verge, as comes the smile to the lips, the foam to the surge, so come to the poet his songs, all hitherward blown from the misty realm that belongs to the vast unknown. His, and not his, are the lays he sings, and their frame is his, and not his, and the praise and the pride of a name. For voices pursue him day by day, and haunt him by night, and he listens, and needs must obey when the angel says, "Write." Okay, so this poem is by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So Longfellow was an American. He was born in Portland, Maine, although at that time Maine was part of Massachusetts. Let's see. He worked as a teacher. He got a job as a professor at Harvard University and at Harvard College, and he taught modern languages. He had travelled significantly in Europe. He'd spent quite a lot of time in Spain, for example, as well. Okay, so what's this about? So the poet and his songs. Well, the first thing we need to look at is the context of this poem. This poem is the very last poem in a volume of poems, in a book of poetry. And the whole book is called Ultima Thule, or Ultima Thule. Now, Ultima Thule is a term in medieval Latin that meant Greenland. That was the interpretation, but it was Ultima Thule is anywhere that is beyond the known world. Yeah, it's like terra incognita. It's Ultima Thule is anything that we don't know. The idea of mystery. Yeah, the mystery of where things come from. And this is really what this poem is about. So, as the birds come in the spring, we know not from where. So, where do the birds come from in spring? Remember, Longfellow, he's living maybe in the 1830s, 1840s. This is a time where a lot less was known about the world and where things come from than we do today. So where do the birds come from in spring? Yeah, Ultima Thule. As the stars come at evening from depths of the air. So where do the stars come from? Well, I think this one he probably knew, but it's the idea. As the rain comes from the cloud and the brook from the ground. Okay, so why does it rain? Where does the rain come from? Why does the rain come from the clouds? And the brook, a brook is a little river. So why do little rivers suddenly spring out of the ground in certain places? As suddenly, low or loud, out of silence, a sound. So I think in these days, if somebody had asked you, where do sounds come from, I think they'd have been pretty pushed. They'd have had quite a lot of difficulty explaining it. As the grape comes to the vine, the fruit to the tree. So where do the grapes come from? But, well, yes, why does fruit come to a tree? As the wind comes to the pine, so why does the wind blow in the pine trees? And why does the tide come to the sea? Why does the tide move the sea up and down? These are all things that come from beyond the edge of knowing. As come the white sails of ships o'er the ocean's verge. So these things come in the same way that suddenly you see the white sail of a ship that's coming over the edge of the ocean. You can suddenly see the sail appear. As comes the smile to the lips. So where does a smile come from? Yeah, what is a smile? I know it's a sign of happiness, but where does it come from? The foam to the surge. The surge is the wave coming in, and very often waves are covered in foam. Where does this foam come from? Yeah, it's almost like magic. So come to the poet, his songs all hitherward blown. Okay, so in the same way as these things appear, well, that's where a poet gets his inspiration from. All of his poetry is blown towards him from the misty realm, from the misty universe that belongs to the vast unknown. So this inspiration, his muse, his inspiration for poetry, it comes from the kingdom of the unknown. He and not his are the lays. Okay, so yeah, the lays are his. I think the lines are his. The rhymes, the words put down are his and not his. So that they come from him, but they are sent to him from the unknown. He sings. Are the lays he sings, are the lines he sings. So the lines that he produces are his, but they're not his because they come from the unknown. And their fame is his and not his. So they belong to him, or do they? And the praise and the pride of a name. So all of these things, all of this poetry, yes, it comes to him, and yes, it is belongs to the poet, but it comes from the poet's inspiration, from the poet's muse, from the world of the unknown. For voices pursue him day by day and haunt him by night. So voices are telling him words, rhymes are going on in his head during the day, and they haunt him like a ghost at night. And he listens to these words, and needs must. So this phrase, needs must, when you've got to do something, you've got to do it, you can't not do it, and needs must obey. So he listens, and he has to obey when the angel, when the muse, when the inspiration says write. So when he gets the inspiration to write, then he's got to write. He can't not do it because he's a poet. And when the inspiration comes, then he's got to write. So, The Poet and His Songs by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.